Could the New Orleans Saints go from Dennis Allen and Arthur Smith pretty much cursing each other out at the end of the regular season finale to peers on the same coaching staff? It sounds crazy, but I think it's a possibility. Let's talk about it right here on the Straight Up Saints
You're
podcast.
listening to the Straight Up Saints podcast.
What is up, Who Dat Nation? Welcome back inside another edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast. I'm your host, Chris Vogan. As always, we're brought to you by Scott Vicknair Injury Lawyers. You've been injured in any kind of accident, car, truck, 18-wheeler, or hurt offshore, Scott Vicknair handles it all. You give him a call at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. They'll always fight for the win. So I mentioned it. Arthur Smith, is he a target? Is he a candidate for the Saints vacancy at offensive coordinator? At the moment, we haven't heard anything yet, but I do feel like in the coming days, in the coming weeks, whatever it may be, and I don't expect it to really be weeks, I more so expect it to see, days. I think the Saints could end up being an option for him. I think that this is a team that is going to look through whether it's coaches that got him fired, coaches that are on the up, coaches that have been away from the game. It seems like the Saints are kind of doing a wide cast of options here, which I think is the best route to go. And I think that when you look at Arthur Smith, he isn't the candidate that I would say is my top guy, right? I've made it very clear. I like Gerard Johnson. I like Zach Robinson. I kind of want the Saints to go with one of those younger coaches who is from a McVay tree or has history with Shanahan and the Niners, someone who comes from one of those. But what I will say about Arthur Smith, if he ends up being a candidate for the Saints, is I think it could work. Now, let's get into why I think this is a possibility. Well, it gets reported on Tuesday from Diana Rossini, who now works for The Athletic. She said 7 teams are interested in Arthur Smith as OC. 7 teams. Now, there are head coaching openings everywhere, but we can take off the Falcons. That one's not happening. I highly doubt he goes to the Panthers. I highly doubt he goes to the Chargers, who could hire Jim Harbaugh. And if that's the case, I don't see him bringing in Arthur Smith. Titans, I don't know if he would go back there. And then you have the Commanders, maybe. Seahawks, maybe. Raiders, maybe. And then you have 5 teams that did not get rid of their head coach, but have an opening at OC. And that's the Patriots, who replaced Belichick with Gerard Mayo, kind of had that succession plan. They need an OC. You have the Saints, obviously. You have the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles and Saints are probably the 2 teams that could be in that mix for Arthur Smith. And what I would say about the Arthur Smith to the Saints thing, where I'm not advocating for this move to happen, but if it were to happen, this is what I would say would be the good thing about it. Arthur Smith values, values running the football. If you look over the course of Arthur Smith's last 5 to 6 years of his coaching career, he's done an excellent job of making sure he gets high value out of his rushing attack. So 2019, offensive coordinator of the Titans rank 3rd in the league in rushing. Yards over the course of the season, 3rd in the league. 2020, 2nd in rushing. That gets him the Falcons job. He goes to Atlanta in 2021. Now, Atlanta in 2021, 31st in rushing. So it's tough to ignore, no doubt about it. I get it. Didn't have the pieces they want in the building, though. We're still throwing the football with Matt Ryan. Didn't exactly have the personnel. Brings you to 2022. Falcons are 3rd in rushing. And then this past season, 9th in rushing. If the Falcons were in closer games, had a better quarterback, maybe that rushing goes even more. So in 4 of the last 5 seasons, Arthur Smith has had a rushing attack that's been no worse than 9th. He's had 3rd twice, 2nd once, 9th, and of course, like I mentioned, 31st in 2021 with the Falcons. That part you want to say it's tough to ignore, fine, but when you're great in 4 years and bad in 1, I think the 4 years is more so what you are than the 1 being what you are, and that's more so the outlier. So I think Arthur Smith would bring creativity to the Saints run game. I think he would get them to put an emphasis on that side of the ball. Now, how does that go work for Derek Carr? How does that help at the quarterback position? In 2019, that season is when Ryan Tannehill had his best year of his career in terms of being efficient. 22 touchdowns, only 6 picks, had over 2,700 passing yards. And that's in 10 starts, because remember, they started off with Mariota and then made the switch over to the man from Mariota over to Tannehill. So 10 starts, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, really efficient. So if the Saints can run the football really well, take pressure off of Derek Carr, not have it be all on his shoulders, and also open up the play action game, I could see where this ends up being a fit. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think that if people hear Arthur Smith, the first thing they're going to think of is him and Dennis Allen arguing, and you can't hire a former Falcons head coach. I think he would actually help the run game out tremendously, and the Saints have one of the most bland run games in the league. And I also think if they have a better run game, it probably helps out your quarterback in Derek Carr, who, let's be real, is not going to throw you into games on a week-to-week basis. So I think there are a variety of reasons why Arthur Smith would be an intriguing candidate for the Saints.
Looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58? DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BOOT. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58 with code BOOT. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms.
Once again, thank you to DraftKings for being part of the program. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think that Arthur Smith would be an intriguing candidate for the New Orleans Saints? Do you not want him anywhere near the Saints? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. And of course, we'll have more videos here at Boo Crew Media, so make sure to subscribe to the YouTube page and stay tuned for more content here from the Straight Up Saints podcast, the destination for the Who Dat Nation.